Hello students, now this is the second part of chapter Understanding Media from class 7 Social Science, chapter 6. We have already covered this chapter till here about the main sources of media income and about the advertisements. Now we are going to start a new subtopic which is media's role in democracy. Now what's democracy? Democracy is a system where people have the power to take part in the decision making of the government. Whatever government is making policies or taking decisions at the center, people should know about it and people can actually take part and challenge the government. Now, key function of media are media gives people news and information about government decisions, social and political events, national and international news. This information helps citizens take actions. For example, people can write letters to ministers, join protests or signature campaigns, demand changes in the government policies. Thus, media helps people participate in democracy. So, it's a responsibility of media to become a medium between government and civilians or the normal people. Now, there is a need for balance in media reporting. Media reports should show all sides of a story. This helps reader and viewers form their own opinions. If a report shows only one side, it becomes biased. Biased news can mislead people and push them to take wrong actions. So, it's a duty of media or news reporters or the journalists to become to be neutral and not take sides in this process, because if they take sides it becomes biased. For example, news reports on factory closures. Report 1, which is News of India, says that it describes protests as violent and causing traffic problems. Now, it says that the government decision was hasty but necessary to make the city cleaner. States factory owners knew their units were illegal and should move elsewhere. Now, this was the report 1, and what's report 2? It was given by India Daily, and it focuses on workers losing their jobs and livelihood, blames the municipal authorities for giving licenses earlier, says reallocation sites are underdeveloped even after 5 years, supports a Bandh, which is strike against the closures. Now, report 1 is, as you can see, it favors the government. Meanwhile, the report 2 favors the workers. The two stories are not the same even though they talk about the same event. News of India creates the impression that the government is right, and India Daily makes the reader feel sympathy for workers and anger at authorities. This shows how media language can focus and shape public opinions. As you've seen that both of these medias were reporting the same event, but in a different manner by focusing on one side, which can shape the people's opinion. Now, balanced reporting, what a journalist should do. A balanced report should explain why the government closed factories, show the problem faced by workers and owners. So it should talk about both the sides, not a particular side. Mention environmental concerns and employment issues, avoid taking sides. Only balanced reporting allows citizens to think independently and act responsibly in a democracy. Now, challenges to independent media. What is a media independence? Media independence means that no person, government, or company controls or influence news stories. Independent media is very important in a democracy because people need true and reliable information to make decisions. Now, independent, as the name suggests, that independence or the freedom of media should be there, because if it gets influenced by someone like the government or big businesses, then the media will favor them. So it's important that it should be neutral. Now, government censorship. Sometimes the government controls or blocks media content. It can stop the publication of news, films, songs, or TV shows. So the censorship is there that the government put pressure over the news channels. The worst period of censorship in India was during the emergency, which was the period between 1975 to 1977. The newspaper were strictly controlled. Today, the government censors films, but there is less control over the news compared to the emergency period. Now, emergency period was 21-month period from June 25th, 1975 to March 21, 1977, when Prime Minister Indira Gandhi declared a national emergency under Article 352 of the Constitution, citing internal disturbances, which was basically meant that political instability and unrest was there. Now, during this period, civil liberties were suspended, opposition leaders were jailed, elections were postponed, press freedom was heavily restricted, and the government exercised authoritarian control over institutions. Now it is considered as one of the biggest challenges to Indian democracy, as the censorship was there and these things were happening during this time. Business influence on media needs money to survive, and as we have seen earlier that through advertisements they get the money, and most of it comes from advertisements. Because of this, media often avoids criticizing big companies that give ads. Many media houses are also owned by business groups, so news may support the interest of owners instead of the public, so it might get influenced from big business owners. Other forms of bias in media sometimes select stories or angles that seem more interesting or dramatic, for example, about the celebrities. This helps them gain support and attention, but it may not show the complete truth. As a result, media can shape public opinions instead of giving full and balanced information. Media sets the agenda. How media sets the agenda? Media decides which issues are important and which are not. Only selected stories are shown as newsworthy. For example, a school function may not be reported unless a film star or celebrity attends it. By choosing what to show repeatedly, media shapes what we think about, feel about, and talk about. And it is also important to understand how normal people like us, the majority people, are interested in, because the news channels will show that only which in which the normal public is interested. So celebrities is a topic that most people find entertaining, so that's why they show it. Positive example of agenda setting: media once exposed that colas had very high pesticide content. Now, even though the government did not accept it easily, media pressure forced safety checks and debates. Without media attention, people may have ignored this health issue. Negative examples of agenda setting: media often ignores serious everyday problems. For example, thousands of people die every year due to unsafe drinking water, but this rarely becomes big news. During the same week, media may give full coverage to Fashion Week while Mumbai slum demolitions get little attention, and which is a bit concerning. Consequences of agenda setting: by focusing more on celebrities, fashion, and rich, media sometimes pushes real public issues to the background. This affects democracy because people discuss what media highlights, not always what matters most. Now, the thing is that sometimes media sets a agenda where their main agenda is to get the publicity. So they focus more on celebrities, fashion, and rich media lifestyle, and they ignore the main public issues and they push it to the background, such as unsafe drinking water and poverty, and about the remote areas, the problems that are there. So this affects the democracy, and people discuss what media highlights, not always what matters most. So what's popular, it will be popular among the people. TV's influence on viewers: television is on daily in many homes and works as a window to the world. Through serials, reality shows, news, sports, and cartoons, TV shapes our thinking and opinions. TV shows many advertisements before, during, and after programs because channels prefer high viewership shows. TV often highlights rich and celebrity lifestyles. While problems of the poor people get less attention, as we've talked about it. Viewers should enjoy TV but remain active and questioning, asking what TV shows and what it hides, and remembering that real life is bigger than entertainment. Local and community media. Local and community media cover small local issues ignored by big media. Community radio helps farmers with crop prices, seeds, and fertilizers. Cheap cameras allow documentaries on poor people, and sometimes poor people make their own films. Khabar Lahariya is a fortnightly newspaper by Dalit women in Chitrakoot, which is in Uttar Pradesh, in Bundeli, focusing on Dalit issues, women's violence, and corruption reaching local communities. The local and community media is a small local media where it focuses on local issues that big channels sometimes don't. So community radio helps farmers with the crop prices, seeds, and fertilizers. It talks about the villages, the people living in villages, and about the main deep-rooted issues like Dalit women are facing discrimination and things like that. Social advertising. Social advertising spreads important messages for society, not to sell products. These ads are made by the government or private groups to challenge public behavior. For example, railway safety ads tell people to slow down near speed breakers, look on both sides before crossing, stop at railway signs, listen for trains. And of course, you must have seen the ads, no smoking ads before any film that starts in the theaters. So that's also a social advertising. They also warn that breaking rules can lead to punishment under the Indian Railways Act 1989. Yeah, so this was all about this chapter. I hope you liked it. You can visit our website paathshala.app. We are on a mission to bring teachers and students together and through virtual environment. And you can also join the paid virtual classes and video sessions. One-on-one interactive learning is there, and you can also build your own community, which are study groups with your classmates. So yeah, thank you so much. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. You can comment down your doubts below. Subscribe to the channel for more such videos. We'll meet in the next video soon. Till then, take care and bye bye.